People often compare modern warfare to a video game. Technology now allows armies to launch attacks and watch the results from computer consoles many miles away. And increasingly, games now simulate the violent reality of the front line. The gaming shelves of video stores across the world are full of titles such as Call of Duty, America's Army and Special Force, all heavily influenced by contemporary conflict scenarios, not least in the Middle East. It's a development that is putting the graphic reality of war at the heart of the lives of young people across the world. And, as the Listening Post's Robin Armstrong reports, may be encouraging many to trade their bedroom for the battlefield.
Video games are a modern-day phenomenon. They have earned their place as a permanent fixture on the media landscape, creating a multi-billion-dollar industry. This surge in gaming popularity has produced a subgenre of military-based games that correspond to current global conflicts. Much like the traditional media, these games focus heavily on the wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Lebanon.
U.S. forces begin to close the noose around Saddam, capturing various relatives and associates.
In a way, they have become part of your media. They're part of you telling the story. It's a way of reinforcing facts the way you would like the public to know them. They're not there to present an accurate depiction of reality.
And thanks to the close, some would say too close, links between the military and game designers, players are provided with an authentic, adrenaline-fueled experience.
The main merger between the military and the media industries has really come about through the video game.
On the one hand, the Pentagon looks to the gaming industry for inspiration and software so it can build its training simulators, as well as, more recently, military recruiting video games. And on the other hand, the gaming industry keeps close ties with the Pentagon so it can have access to the latest microchip technology. It can know about the latest weapons specs so that those specs can be included in various war games.
But these games are more than just high-tech forms of entertainment. They also serve a more practical purpose and have become a potent recruitment device for the military, both in the USA and beyond.
The military then understands also that video games are very important for recruitment, allowing them to be downloaded for free at some of the game shows. The military people will admit that these are the best things that they have devised for recruiting young people.
You look like you're really into this. You guys want a real challenge?
Today we're seeing a very interesting phenomenon, is the use of video games for political purposes. And the most interesting example, of course, is a game called America's Army.
First released on Independence Day 2002, America's Army has seen over 20 updated versions to ensure, according to the makers, an authentic representation of combat.
Millions of taxpayer dollars have gone into developing this game. So the game is really selling the U.S. military.
The enemy isn't really ever discussed by name or by country or any kind of specifics, yet the enemy is almost kind of lacking in identity, although given the kind of environments in which the game is staged, it's quite clear that this is a Middle Eastern context.
A context that is fighting back, producing its own military games.
Now, America is not unique. Hezbollah has developed its own video game, and there are games developed by Syrian developers also that are looking into this, and so what they've done is they have video games that are also promoting their side of the story.
In many ways, I think people from Hezbollah, for example, are probably sick and tired of seeing Arab cities being bombed and destroyed in many of these war games. So they offer a very different kind of interpretation. Both Under Siege and Special Force take the perspective of a young Palestinian who decides to join the Intifada. And so they offer a very different kind of set of outcomes.
Hezbollah argues that Hezbollah is combating a trend in the global media, the global entertainment industry, in which Arabs are always the bad guys. And that happens in a lot of video games. It's not just the America's Army video game. And almost every video game that deals with military, there are Arab enemies, there are people with headdresses, and they're kind of shot off randomly.
Even the Arab media itself is considered a legitimate target by the makers of this game, Call of Duty. which depicts an eerily accurate version of Al Jazeera's newsroom as a battle zone for US Marines.
The game spends a lot of time talking about ethics, how to be a good soldier. Killing civilians is not allowed. So, but this is really kind of a smokescreen of exploring the reality of war, of replacing an exploration of what war is really like on the ground.
So what's the long-term impact on the gamers when the games focus little on the ethics of war? How is this mass-market form of entertainment affecting those who go out and fight on the front lines?
Instead of contributing to a greater understanding and greater connection between home front and battlefield, video games in large part contribute to a greater alienation between citizen and soldier.
Our soldiers understanding their time in a military operation as being like in a video game. If you look at many of the media reports from Gulf War II, many US soldiers talk about their experiences as if they were in a movie, but they also talk about their experiences as if they were in the middle of a video game.
The problem with video games in war, nobody dies in the other side of a video game. You battle with the enemy, you get to use the high-tech weapons, but nobody ever really dies. So a video game is a way of preparing for war, training for war, all with death kind of taken out of the equation.
More Global Village voices now on how they see military video games.
In the gaming industry, the effects of this kind of media and these kind of media messages are much more prominent than perhaps even in watching movies, because in a game the player gets to actually simulate and immerse themselves inside the minds and the activities of US military operations internationally.
There's also been an aspect of video games used as an anti-war tool. There's an American professor who used America's Army as the platform for an anti-war protest. He would log into America's Army under the name Dead in Iraq, and he would then actually broadcast the names of real soldiers who had died in Iraq to all of the other players.
Finally, the Recruitment poster is a mainstay of war, but here's a subversive modern spin from the team at the American Comedy Network. Bush and his boys serve up an R&B recruitment rap with a little nod to supergroup Destiny's Child. It's Destiny's Recruiters, and we'll see you next time at The Listening Post.
I need some soldiers. We need more boys to be in them Hummers shooting. But we're having trouble recruiting. So if you want to learn to be saluting, join the army and we'll give you a free haircut. The military needs some new persons. The situation is urgent. There ain't no shortage of insurgents. I thought I'd better ask you before I have to draft you. If you're living in the hood, we'll be looking for you. Get off the street and put on some fatigues. I need some soldiers, join up. Oh, pretty please, you'll get a cool pair of boots that are totally free. If you're fresh out of school, you won't find a job. The army is fun and we'll give you a gun. I need some soldiers, drop down and give me 20. I need some soldiers real bad. Where they at? Where they at? We need you in Iraq. Where they at? I need some soldiers right now. Where you at? Where you at? Who wants to go fight for me? In Iraq, in Iraq.